Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the series premiere of Detectives These Days Are Crazy. Great series premiere. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So, I didn't know what to fully expect from what the premise of this is. It seems just like shenanigan-filled case adventures of the week type of situation, maybe. But we get introduced to one of our main protagonists, and that's Nagumo, who was like your high school detective, and now he's basically your old, washed-up detective. He kind of, especially like because he was like a great high school detective, definitely gives me like Shinichiro vibes from Case Closed. Is that his name? Because obviously, like, he's Conan to me, but I've not seen Case Closed in so long that I'm actually forgetting what Conan's real name is. I think it's Shinichiro. Or not, maybe it's not Shinichiro. Maybe it's Shinichi? I think it's Shinichi. I think. Jesus. Yeah, it gave me those vibes, and then we hard cut to him in, like, maybe his late 20s, early 30s, washed up. I mean, I literally love that the intro, the opening for the show doesn't give you any context. It just shows you this old man smoking and back pain, and he's old, and he's old, and he's old. That's all you got from the intro. But yeah, he's got to make the bills work, got to make the bills pay because the clients aren't coming in like they used to. Basically, since his high school days, it's always like kind of like, oh, chasing that glory. You were the hot stuff then, and now you've kind of fallen out of favor. And then he meets our other main protagonist, Mashiro, who shows up because she wants to be his assistant. Obviously, don't get off on the best foot because it's like, hey, yo, I'm about to bash your head in because you're trying to look up my skirt. It's like, I didn't try to do that on purpose. But he's like, I do appreciate the treat. It's like, you're a massive pervert. The fact of the matter is, she also has her shtick where like she's pulling random stuff. Like, I don't think it was a naginata. I think it was just like maybe a speared weapon, whatever the case may be. She's like, oh yeah, like my storage ability is like insane. It's one of my great skills because she's got all this like random stuff she's pulling out, dropping all those beads or those balls or whatever from like her skirt. It's just like random wackiness. But yeah, she wants to be his assistant, and it's like, ooh, I watch all of Furuhata Ninzamburo. That face she makes afterwards, that's her making a face of the actor who played Furuhata. I looked it up. Basically on Wikipedia, they literally say it's kind of like the Japanese version of Columbo. So to kind of give you some context on what that show was. So, but yeah, it's just really interesting, and that's kind of like her go-to. It's like, oh, like I figured it all out. The fact of the matter is, you just think because you don't have any money, you don't have enough money to hire on an assistant. Oh wow, you actually nailed that. It actually worked. You going full Furuhata in this moment worked. But he's just like, nah, like you need certain detective skills and certain things about you. You're a Gura type of girl, so it's like you don't have what it takes. But it's like you have a very old-fashioned notion of what a Gura is, which I had to look it up because I'm like, I think I've heard that term before, but it's like a fashion style in Japan that kind of really popped off in the 90s. I don't know, like, I mean, I'm sure it's probably transitioned and changed a lot, but it's like his thought was, oh, you're wearing makeup, you're showing cleavage, and you're wearing a short skirt. It's like, well, that's probably like where it was in the 90s, but also she's kind of wearing a school uniform. It doesn't go with the Gura aesthetic. I actually don't know how old, but I think she is like a high schooler. Either way, he's like, I'm sorry, but I got no time to help you. I've got a job to do. So he's following a suspected cheating wife. And I love that really, honestly, it's not even about the case, it's about the characters. And it's like, yeah, he's following her into a place, but it's a very fancy cafe. But Mashiro is like, nah, I'll be here. Like, you're going to look less suspicious and you won't stick out as much if you're here with your younger lover. He's like, okay. And then he get to, like, the menu. He's like, what does this even mean? He's so old and out of touch where it's like, oh. And she orders, like, a very complicated order. And he's like, okay. Also, we find out that he's super old-fashioned, that he's using, like, an instant camera versus, like, he doesn't even know what a smartphone is. And you're just like, Jesus, because it's like, what did you think these things were? Like, literally, everyone's walking around. He's like, I thought they were hand mirrors or something. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. How are you that out of the loop? Like, what have you been doing since you've been out of high school? Like, how are you this out of touch with the world? But I mean, I guess it's like, once again, he's very old-fashioned in regards of, like, it's old school versus new school, even though he has the skills and know-how, it's like he's an antiquated, relic of the past in the regard, and he just hasn't advanced with the world. Because I think it's a weird reference to make. It's a very American reference to make. But if you've ever seen Married with Children, he's pulling an Al Bundy. Al Bundy, all he cared about was, hey, I'm stuck in my glory days. Remember that one football game where I scored 4 touchdowns in a single game? Yes, that's all he relives his glory. Nagumo was kind of like that, but he has some self self-awareness to know, like, I am kind of antiquated in a lot of ways. The fact is, my skills have dulled, because Mashiro was like, you didn't even notice I was following. He's like, what? You were following me? He's like, wow, you are right. My skills have dulled. And he's like, I get it. Like, the fact is, I am a little washed up. Like, why would you kind of want to work for me? No one kind of believes anymore. But, like, obviously that conversation hit Mashiro, and she's like, I believe it, that you are who you are. So we don't know what the connection is, but because he even asked, like, why do you want to work for me? Fact of the matter is, like, there are plenty of other detective agencies you could work at, but she specifically walked into his door, even later on revealing, like, I know exactly who you are. She specifically came to work for him, either because maybe she had a crush on him when she was younger, when he was younger and she was much younger. Maybe she had a crush on him, or maybe her life was positively impacted because of a case he worked on in the past. Because Mashiro doesn't drop her last name. She just says her first name. But even if she drops her last name, that might be like a reveal in the show where she's like, this is who I am, this is my surname. And he's like, what's that supposed to mean? Is that supposed to mean anything? Where it's like, it probably is significant, but it's like, you can tell, like, and that's probably going to be a recurring element in its figuring out why she did that. Who knows if Nagumo's going to bother really paying attention to that? I'm curious to see, like, where this series ends up going, because it's meant to be just a really, like, fun, comedic, like, mystery series, but I'm curious, like, will there be any darker elements to it? Like, will we see moments where, like, Nagumo, like, goes full, like, detective mode? Or is he meant to be like, oh god, I looked his name up recently. It's Ron's, is it her name Ron? The main love interest in Case Closed, who Conan's living with. Like, her and her dad, it's like, I'm forgetting their name. It's Mori, right? Because I think that's her last name. But her dad, like, I think the character's name is Ron. Once again, I'm so sorry. It's been so long since I saw Case Closed. He's kind of like the bumbling detective, but even he has his moments where, like, even Conan's like, oh, snap, you're actually doing it. Like, sometimes he stumbles his way forward, into solving a case. So I wonder, does Nagumo have those moments at all, or is it purely all on Mashiro? Even though she's kind of like the amateur detective, he's the one with the experience, but he's kind of, senses have kind of gotten dulled, he's old, yada yada, so on and so forth. Like I said, it's so interesting because it's not even really about the case, because the case is so just casually dealt with, where it's like, oh my god, she's meeting her lover from work and took a photo, and then the case is over pretty quickly. It's like, and then they try to cover up, be like, oh my god, babe, we're taking a picture together. It's like, we got to be a little bit more discreet. And then the guy walks away like, oh, I guess my wife is cheating on me. And that's just it. Like, that's the resolution to it. I thought the twist was going to be like, well, you're going to misinterpret it. You're going to think it's cheating when it actually isn't. It's like, oh, I guess it's just open and shut, because that's not the important aspect of it. The cases are just the backstop for the character development and the weird shenanigans they'll find themselves in. That's all it's meant to be, right? Either way, putting all that aside, he hasn't officially hired her, but he's basically like, oh, you can, like, stop by to kind of, like, almost shadow me to an extent. It's not like I'm full on hiring you, but, and she takes the job, So, which he's kind of, it's like, oh, she did actually help out, so I'll kind of extend this olive branch in this regard. So, next part of the episode is the next case. Well, because she's kind of put all these posters around about we'll do anything, which he's like, hey, don't advertise that. I thought his interpretation, it's just like, right, we handle detective work. It's like finding a lost cat and stuff like that is, that's good, honest detective work. I could see, like, right, you saying you'll do anything could bring the wrong crowd around and you get hired to do some maybe not so above board jobs. I love that even finding a cat job kind of got screwed up because they found the wrong cat. But I love that her only takeaway from Mashiro is like, oh, we get to keep the cat then, right? Oh, little Cerberus, or Carabas, depending on how you want to pronounce it. I've always been a Cerberus guy, but I have heard people pronounce it like Carabas. But either way. So, like, he's kind of, I guess, going to be kind of like the mascot of the office and just the pet. It's like, and I love the lady's like, well, I'm glad you got a mascot and everything, but what about me? You still haven't found my cat yet. So it's like, okay, showing you, once again, how they handle their client situation. I don't even know by the end of the episode they actually did find that lady's cat. I'd assume so, because we don't see her later, but I mean, obviously, it jumps into the next situation because she's been putting these posters everywhere. And then there's the whole bug thing because we find out that Nagumo hates bugs. Hey, I get it, especially when Cerberus picks up that massive bug in his mouth and is like, that's gross, that's gross. Mashiro's picking up like it's nothing. And then she's chasing after him like, wait. What does he do? He tosses her out the window. And then the next client comes up. She's like, oh my God, this guy. I saw him just murder this high school girl by throwing her out the window. It's like, oh, don't worry about it. The fact of the matter is she's tough as nails. That won't do anything for her. And she's like, the client's like, is that supposed to be? Like, is that... Oh, saying like she's the type of girl that will survive. Is like, wait, is that supposed to be a type of girl? Her whole thing is like, yo, I have like bees or whatever that need to be dealt with because like there's a nest in my house. And Nagumo's like, well, let's put aside some of that silly talk and let's get serious. I hate bugs and I don't want to do this. She's like, what, are you, a child? I thought this was supposed to be a serious conversation. Then he's like, oh wait, Mashiro, she hates bugs. All right, this would be the perfect job for her. So while she's exposing a poster, she's like, yo, go to this location and deal with like the pest there. She's like, cool. And then she ends up at the wrong building. Instead of going to a client's actual house, she went to the building owned by a Yakuza group. Just generic, literally generic crime family, as literally they're just the crime family. And she goes in there following his advice on how to get rid of pests. He's thinking, wasp or bees, versus like, no, she's legitimately taking down a Yakuza group. Funny enough, she comes in at one point with a flamethrower. At one point, she's using like pesticide, and they're like, oh my God, it's tear gas. And then she comes in with the flamethrower. She seems demonic and crazy. This high schooler just came in and busted this whole situation up. And then like the final guy is like, please, he's like scared for his life. He's like, please spare me. He's like, the only reason why I became a Yakuza 2 years ago, because he's like, I thought I looked cool in this suit. And then, the resolution to the whole thing is, wait, you were in the wrong place? How scary are you, kid, that you literally busted up a crime organization? The fact is, the news doesn't even know who did it. Just knowing that you did, you came back a little scuffed up, got literally people's blood on you. It's like, don't worry about it. Oh, our takeaway too is we got a new helper. Like she, what was his name? Like Neru. Like I forgot his, but the last guy that was left from the Yakuza, she basically snatched him up. So I'm like, is that just going to be like the shtick of this story? It's just like they're just going to randomly like bring in helpers from. Because we saw some different faces at the end of the episode in the outro. So I'm like, is that just going to be like the people that start filling up this detective agency playing different roles? Because I kind of just assumed. I watched a trailer a little while back, but it mainly focused on Nagumo and Mashiro. But they're probably going to be obviously the most recurring characters, but we'll probably get some of the other cast. Like, this guy is just getting coffee at the end of the episode, but who knows what roles they'll play going forward in the grand scheme of things. But I also love that literally the client's like, hey, you haven't dealt with my job. Like, you went and wiped out a crime family. What about the nest I actually hired you to get rid of? And that's it. Like I said, the case is such a backdrop for the shenanigans that ensue. So I'm curious to see where the hell this story goes. It's probably for the most part going to be very episodical, but it probably will be overarching. I'm like I said, it depends on how they approach this. I have never read the manga, so I don't know what to fully expect for later parts of the story. Once again, early parts of a series can be like very wacky and crazy, and then they can have a shift where they get a little more serious. I don't know if this story plans on ever doing that. Having never read the manga, so I don't know what direction it ends up going. Will it continue to be very like episodical? Because I think the next episode is going to be like 2 or 3 cases in one episode. But like I said, I'm curious. Like, are they going to be like? Will it do the case closed thing of like, well, there's multiple, or even more recently, I watched the Dinner Table Detective, and some of those cases expanded over like 2 episodes, for the most part. And sometimes case closed episodes were like over, this case was 2 or 3 episodes long. So I'm curious, will there ever be a situation like that? Or will none of the cases ever get like that? Will there be any murder cases in this? Or will it be all silly stuff? I mean, just, once again, a lot to kind of, leave on the table of like not knowing what to expect, considering there's only 1 episode in. So, but I'm excited to see what shenanigans go forward, learning more about Nagumo and Mashiro and what cases they take on. But yeah, that's kind of all I really wanted to talk about. To the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.